Good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce our team, Tony, Kaylin, Nathan, and me, Irene. And we would like to present you on how to foster creativity in the workplace. Our team will discuss the creativity in organizational decision making, the 3 stages model of creativity, and the ways to foster creativity in the workplace. We would like to give examples of the companies who give importance to creativity and the benefits of a creative workplace. Creativity improves the quality of decisions. It increases the scope of alternatives to be considered for problem solving. It is essential to deal with problems which are no repetitive and novel, as such problems cannot be solved by predefined solutions. They require imaginative thinking for their solution. As no problem has a single solution, creativity helps in generating new ideas and help in taking the final decision. Creativity is like fingerprint. No two people think creatively in the same exact way. Putting your imprint idea is the basis of creativity. Your ability to find useful and imaginative ways to solve problems is priceless. And with the collaboration of different unique ideas, the company will result in achieving one common goal. There are endless reasons why creativity is important. However, when it comes to decision making, it's necessary to balance out the analytical mind to understand and consider all possible options. As humans, we spend a lot of time overthinking, stressing, worrying, complicating. These are all analytical traits. While analysis is important in the decision-making process, you also need to infuse it with innovation, reasoning, understanding, and most of all, personality. Creativity requires whole brain thinking, right brain imagination, artistry, and intuition, plus left brain logic and planning. It gives everyone the ability to communicate and share ideas.
Thanks, Irene. Hi everyone, I'm Tony. Today I'm going to talk about some basic information about creative. It can be divided into 3 stages. They are cause of creative behavior, and outcomes. The first stage is the cause, is the creative potential and how an environment affects creative. One of the potential is high intelligence, based on the experiment about how to solve complex problems. So they have more chance to be creative. Sometimes we call them as mad genius, as they do things differently from normal like we do. Like we never know what scientists are thinking about. Also, personality affects creative as well. The more active and outgoing personality, likely more creative. Besides, to be creative also need related expertise because you will not even know how to start. Last, ethics is not related to creative. Ethics is ethics, creative is creative, that's it. Also, environment is important too. Creative is like a seed, it will dry out without water. The next stage is the creative behavior. It can be divided into 4 steps: problem formulation, information gathering, idea generation, and idea evaluation. Problem formulation is a need. It comes out when you need to solve a problem that you don't know how to do it yet. Then we come to information gathering. You can't start from nothing. You need to collect all related informations so that you are able to start thinking it. The first step is the hardest one because you're actually creating something from nothing. It can happen anytime. Ideas come up anytime like HomeCast. You won't see them until they want to show up. Last, maybe you have lots of ideas now, but you need to evaluate them and see which one is the best, or few ideas are best. The final stage is the outcome of the creative. After evaluation, now you got some good ideas. But do they actually work? Well, it will be useful if it comes true. Other than that, it's just useless. It can't solve the problem. And it is time to go back to stage 2 and start over.
Hi everyone, it's Kaylin here, and I'm going to share with you some ways to foster creativity in the workplace. Leadership is one of the main ways of fostering creativity amongst employees. Good leadership matters to creativity. When leaders are inspiring, have open communication, and encourage the development of their employees, those people tend to be more creative. Managers and leaders can help employees find resources for their creative ideas and help bridge their ideas to reality. Research shows that managers and leaders foster the development of employees' creativity by displaying positive behaviors. For example, providing assistance, encouragement, and acting as role models for engagement. Good leadership may also make the difference in whether diverse teams are more creative than other teams. There's mixed opinion and research on whether diversity leads to more creativity. It is believed that diversity contributes to an atmosphere of creative thinking. There are many positive benefits to having employees from different fields, educations, and backgrounds, as employees with too many similarities can often come up with ideas that start to sound repetitive. The varying opinions on whether diversity increases creativity in the workplace comes from the way in which the process of creativity is shaped. It has been shown that knowledge sharing is a meaningful venue through which diversity affects team creativity. Knowledge sharing and having a good leader show that diverse teams can be more creative. Next up, we will discuss how providing an employee with a stimulating workspace leads to more creativity, brainstorming, and creative thought. Brainstorming is a classic technique that is used in groups and typically requires a facilitator. It is structured on 4 guidelines: generate as many ideas as possible, defer judgment about ideas until the end of the brainstorming session, try to come up with original ideas, and combine and build on existing ideas. It has been shown that idea generation methods like brainstorming yielded more novel outcomes. When employees have a wide-open whiteboard to work with, you never know what ideas they might come up with. To be creative, people need to be in an environment that inspires creativity and a place where their creative potential can be realized. This can be done by providing a stimulating atmosphere through sound, color, light, and temperature. Employees will benefit creatively from environments with varying noise levels. A quiet environment is good for staying focused, but having ambient noise at a moderate level works best for encouraging creativity. The colors and ambiance established can also impact the energy of the space. Typical office environments are large areas of white and beige. These colors appear sterile and harsh, and they are uninspiring. Instead, it is recommended to give employees some color. Lighter blues and greens are easier on the eyes, and they can create feelings of relaxation. This is good for spaces where employees need to focus and complete tasks. Bold and warm colors like red and orange are good for spaces where you want to stimulate thinking and create an energized atmosphere. For example, in a boardroom or in an area for brainstorming. The temperature and lighting in a workspace can also influence creativity. A warmer, cozy temperature and natural light are the ideal setting to foster brainstorming and the creative thought process. Individual and team creativity translate into novelty only when the climate and workspace actively supports innovation.
I will be providing examples of creativity being exemplified in the workplace. Examples include Google and Taco Bell. So Google, for years, is famous for maintaining what's called the 20% time policy. And the way this policy works is that employees are encouraged to spend 20% of their time on projects of interest. So this has the benefit, obviously, of engaging employees in doing something that interests them, something they want to do, so they're a little more intrinsically motivated. And historically, as the project begins to demonstrate impact, Google begins to devote more resources to the project. And this has actually proved to be quite a successful model, as there are several examples of very iconic services that Google offers that have come from this model, some of which includes Google News, Gmail, and AdSense. So this has proved to be a successful way to foster creativity.
Hey there, I'm Nat.
And I'm Lo.
Guess where we work? Yes, we work at Google. I've worked there for 5 years, and I've worked on a bunch of different projects with Nat. But Google is a pretty big place, and we don't work on everything, so there's actually a lot of different stuff Google's doing that we don't know that much about.
And we thought that was kind of lame, because we actually want to know about those things.
So at Google, there's this thing called 20% time, where you can spend a part of your time working on something that you came up with.
So we decided to run around Google, meeting different people, learning about different projects, and asking questions about all the stuff we're curious about.
What's your code speak?
Code speak? I want to be able to go like this, and everything is in your language.
So this one broke because I kept crashing it.
Why do you still have that broken wing?
Just as a souvenir, I guess.
What's your favorite phone part? Now we're turning everything that we learned into a YouTube show and calling it Nat and Lowe's 20% Project.
A series about all the stuff we're curious about at Google.
Ready to rumble?
Another example is Taco Bell. They have a creative director by the name of Chris Ayers, and Chris has actually proven to be quite a creative force in the corporate world in general, and there's an assortment of things that he's done to exemplify creativity in the corporate world. Generally speaking, his job is to find ways to photograph food. He works in marketing, so he has to photograph Taco Bell food to make it more appealing. And it's been said that this is actually a much harder thing to do than how it sounds. But luckily for Taco Bell, Mr. Ayers has a tendency of operating in unconventional ways as a means of fostering creativity. So one example is that there was one time that he rented an art studio, and then he purchased several bags of groceries, and he brought his team together, and he challenged them to create what he calls food art. And apparently there were some pretty interesting projects that came from this, little art diagrams that came from this. One example is a diorama of blue jello that was formed into a swimming pool. And then another example would be a stop-motion film about villainous cabbage. So these are some pretty interesting ideas that Mr. Ayers was able to foster. Another example, again from Mr. Ayers, he hosted a company-wide art show, and over 100 participants joined up. And once again, there were some interesting results as a result of this competition or this show. One entry was there was a designer who loves surfing, and he submitted a painting of waves, like from a beach, and it was painted on a piece of reclaimed driftwood. So that was a pretty original piece. Ayers himself also entered the competition and submitted subversive topographic screen prints. So a little bit of originality there. And furthermore, Ayers decided to make the most of these entries, so he hosted a silent auction, and it gave employees an opportunity to bid on their favorite art pieces from the art show that they participated in, and they were able to raise over $5,000, which was donated to the Taco Bell Foundation for charity. Some of the pieces still remain from the auction, and they were used to decorate the halls at Taco Bell offices, and it's just a demonstration that inspiration can be found anywhere, including a corporate office. So there's Mr. Ayers has done a good job of expanding assumptions about creativity, that it has to be in a certain way. Really, creativity and inspiration can be found anywhere, even somewhere as boring as work.